So hello and welcome to episode 15 of Rebel City Podcast. How's it going, Matt?
Not bad, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, very, very good, mate. This week's guest is IAMKAYPEE, so a fellow podcaster.
Yep. Thanks for having me on, man.
No.
Coming through to Glasgow to your fine podcast studio.
in the dungeon, the basement in Glasgow. How was your trip?
No, it was good. Nice. Yeah.
Seeing Coat Dyke for the first time as well?
Yeah, that was something that really intrigued me when I heard on the announcement that I was in Coat Dyke. So I then posted on, I am in Coat Dyke, and then I realised my picture was me looking like a dyke in a coat. So I thought people would just assume lesbian, not dyke, obviously. Nothing derogatory on this podcast.
Of course. Much the same as yours, don't worry about swelling. I only got about 5 minutes in, I was like, can I swell?
Aye.
And then we had...
that question's popped up a few times when you looked into that.
It's on like the sort of bingo card for podcasts. There's like things that people say, and always comes up is, can I swear on this? And I'm like, you fucking can't.
Aye, don't you fucking dare. Let's have a wee look at the podcast bingo thing before we... So, anyway, how are you getting on, man? What have you been up to?
Well, I'm slightly hungover today because I did a podcast, my podcast yesterday, and then straight after it I did the guests their own podcast, which is Mood Swings.
Okay.
And it was really good.
That's a mental health.
Drinking.
That's a mental health podcast as well.
Yeah, so basically it's the same sort of conversational podcast, but it's all under the guise of mental health. And you know, he's had MMA fighters on there. He interviewed Gail Porter, who's a famous Scottish presenter. And she was on the side of House is it Commons or Parliament?
She was at the House of Commons, I think it was.
So I was saying Gail Porter was married to the dude for IT crowd. That's not true either.
You're just a bullshitter, man.
What's her name? What's her name though? It's definitely Porter. She's at BBC.
Okay.
She did like documentaries, but it's not Gail Porter. Gail Porter. Yeah, I know who Gail Porter is.
She's Scottish.
Yeah,
and she's known for her ginger hair, but she lost it.
Yeah, alopecia.
Yeah, it's just when you said there that they projected her onto the side of Houses of Parliament. It's like the first ever FHM top 100 sexiest woman and stuff like that. Which if they did that nowadays,
off the bit uproar.
Yeah, can you imagine that?
Degrading women.
Well,
like
did it go? That used to be like my holiday sort of toolkit was FHM, and I think it was July they did the 100 sexiest women, so we'd always be on the plane just like pretty much openly sitting pure check her out at like 19.
My mum and dad were uber Catholics, and there was just no space for that. Like, I would have never got away with just leaving an FHM line about it. I'd beat her in the head about it.
I'll tell you something though, she was the last honest person that was played against the House of Commons.
Yeah.
Say that again?
She was the last honest person with honest intentions played across the side of House of Commons.
Definitely, especially with fucking shit that's going on just now in Westminster.
Not that it happens often, obviously.
They've always been liars. I think this is what we're starting to realise, isn't it? Is they've always been fucking lying to us. We're just starting to get the information now that we can see it and go.
You just need to look at the reaction to like Theresa May's visit to Glasgow during the week. I mean, the guys looked...
Visit?
Yeah,
did you see her fucking... She went straight for the airport to somewhere that is...
A factory that creates leather for the Houses of Parliament.
Yeah.
Like,
and then...
What do they have that's leather?
All the benches. All the benches. They're all that green, and then the House of Lords is like red leather. Okay. So there's a factory next to Glasgow Airport that makes these seats. She flew into Glasgow, probably get a Mercedes driven to this factory, shook a couple of hands, get back in the car, back in the plane, straight back down.
Over some homeless people.
But I love the CNN footage that, I don't know if any of you caught this, where they were in the streets and they were talking to people, and there was a few of the older boys saying, you know, this has definitely changed my mind on things like independence, we're not being listened to. And they cut to these two young lads in the street and go, so if you were to meet Theresa May, what would your message be? And the lad looks to his mate, right, he just a wee cheeky side eye and goes, fuck off. Just like international news TV live, and you're like, there's Glasgow for you, you know what I mean?
Well, someone posting on Facebook this morning an image of the sign that you see when you're entering Scotland.
Yep.
And it's like, welcome to Scotland, Theresa May can fuck off. And I was like, I so hope someone spray paints that on it, because it would just be fantastic.
Is it real?
No, I don't think so.
I think I've seen various versions out over the years when there's been visits and stuff like that.
I mean, people have sprayed fucking, flat earth theory all the way up to 89. If someone doesn't spray paint that on the enter sign into Scotland, then we're completely mad.
So there's flat earth graffiti over road signs up north?
It's all the way from Perth
It would start at Perth, wouldn't it?
Perth to Edinburgh, Perth to Edinburgh, Perth to Inverness, and Perth to Aberdeen. Someone sprayed like on the underpasses.
Right.
Flat Earth theory.
Well, the flat Earth's popped up a few times, isn't it? I'm of the opinion that it's just people trolling. I don't think anybody
that's how it
actually
started
believes
out.
it.
I think that's how it started out on all these forums. People just trolling by saying, "Oh, flat Earth."
Yeah.
But I think people started to believe it. I think that's how these things start.
It's one of the world's oldest conspiracy theories. It's been about since.
Yeah.
Apart from Adam and Eve.
Yeah, it's flat Earth, maybe even older than that.
Oh, true. Yeah.
But who knows?
Call me out.
Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I had a look into it because I'm a massive conspiracy theory fan, and if you're one yourself, let's have a conversation.
Oh,
I used to be.
Right.
I'm trying to like
Steer away
Try
there.
to wean yourself
I mean,
off.
from the ages of 20 to 24, I just was taking in everything on the internet that they had to offer in terms of conspiracy theories.
Who's your favourite?
I don't know. I don't have a favourite. The JFK one's always going to be tasty because, well, you know, it's quite convincing.
Is that just a theory?
It's the same as gravity and you know, the world being round. JFK conspiracy is a really good
And
one.
what do you believe as far as JFK is concerned? 'Cause I've heard some batshit crazy ones.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of the stuff that has came up, like the magic bullet and all that. There is sort of stuff surrounding that to support that it, you know, it just was a freak. Like the way the positioning of the seating and that isn't how you think of it. It was like different, so they can show that. So I don't
Science
know.
has moved on significantly for that to explain these types of.
But there are still
weird things.
strange things and sort of motivations as well. As what's strange about that whole thing is there is motivation for somebody to have done that to him. But I don't know. I'm not sure what I believe.
I think like how the CIA destabilised, you know, loads of like southern and sort of Central American countries around that time. They were obviously, you know, at it with Cuba and stuff like that. You know, under Kennedy's leadership. I think the CIA just used the American mafia to kill him because he didn't want to go to war with people. You know what I mean? Like,
It's not traceable, really, either.
For me, it's the most plausible. You know what I mean? Like, when you look at things like Ruby and all the rest of it, you know, the CIA had a habit of going to other countries, looking at rebel groups, funding them, training them, using it to destabilise. And I think the Kennedy thing is they just did it to themselves this time. You know what I mean? To an extent.
Yeah. I mean, no, there are conspiracies. Like, the American government has been proven to be conspiring to do things.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be that far of a push to say that.
And it's the commitment to it. Well, I think we talked about Wormwood, the one that popped up on Netflix, where they were dosing people with LSD. And
Is that in France?
It was, well, I'm sure there was experiments, or there was this particular story related to a guy who was working with the CIA. He was an analyst. They dosed him one day because there was a rumour that he was involved with, you know, Russian spying and stuff like that. And at the end of the night, the guy jumped out a 20th floor hotel window.
Wow.
And the government spent 20-30 years covering it up, and it turns out that basically guys from the CIA chucked him out the window because they didn't like his answers. But his family chased this down over like 2 or 3 decades and eventually got the truth on. So, you know, it's no, as you say, unheard of or uncommon. You know.
That was the Gulf of Tonkin. That's one that's been sort of like openly admitted that it was a conspiracy. That, I mean, Vietnamese rebels didn't sink a submarine.
Yeah.
Which I think you could probably have. There's a couple of common sense ones like that where you're just like, why did anybody fucking believe that was true?
Yeah.
How could anybody believe that was true? But then,
pre-internet though, it's easier to get away with something.
And
like
also, we've been hit with our own one with 9/11, where it's like these guys that work in caves have managed to infiltrate and sort of dupe the whole American security system to fly planes into a building. It's kind of like, I can smell bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, there are points that are true in that conspiracy theory, like obviously Osama bin Laden was a billionaire son, you know, and they had close links to the Bushes. Actually,
He died?
Yeah, he died today, George Bush
Senior.
Did he?
Yeah, hallelujah.
So,
I've seen a lot of Twitter outpouring, and I went in. It's just that whole sort of what's it called? Your on the internet
shit posting.
No, like your own
porn.
Oh, your
no.
bubble.
We spoke about
The echo chamber.
yeah, the echo chamber,
okay.
like your own echo chamber. I
It's
seen
like a feedback loop type thing.
Yeah, I seen the post whatever post it was his grandson, so George Bush the third, who's probably keep an eye on fucking Damien
How
Form.
egotistical you have to be to keep naming your fucking kids George. I mean, if they have
Such a shit name
a daughter, they would
But at the
probably
same
call
time,
it
if you've
George
got
as well.
Georgina.
If you had two
Just straight up
Georges,
George.
if you had two Georges in the family that both ended up president, I don't know if I'd be wanting to be the one that broke the run. You know what I mean? Like that. It puts a lot of expectation on a way.
He tweeted out, obviously it's his granddad, saying like he was a great man and blah blah blah, and I was like, oh, this is going to just be total carnage, and this fucking, and his comments went into Twitter feed and it was just loads of people going, he was a great president. He's just like, what fucking planet do you live on?
Yeah,
he is one that's sort of not been been shown to be embroiled in anything from what we know, you know, like his son,
just because he never get caught up.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying that there wasn't things, but his son certainly was. But I think
going back to JFK, he has always claimed that, so there's always been a conspiracy theory that he was there, and George Senior, because he was the head of the CIA at the time, and it turns out that he definitely was, 100%.
It was in Texas
when Trump released the sort of the snippets of the JFK files. There was a thing that had done an itinerary where he had flown to Texas the night before, and he'd always claimed that he was nowhere near Texas. So he's definitely fucking involved. I mean, the Bushes are like do we have an equivalent here, really?
of the Bushes.
The political dynasty.
Well, fucking the Windsors. I think they're probably the closest thing that the Americans have had to a royal family.
Royalty and presidential sort of lineage is slightly different. Royalty is sort of more nefarious to me.
What have we got in Britain? Maybe like Tony Benn, but then his son is no
Hillary Benn.
He's no the politician that his dad was, or you know, for what I know him, the person that his dad was either, to be honest with you, you know what I mean? But yeah, other than that, I can't think of too many British dynasties.
I think we had the experience, I'll bet, that they knew to stay the fuck away from the limelight.
Yeah.
That it would be silly to be being open and out there and going, oh, like, I'm publicly known, but also I'm a fucking tyrant.
I think in terms of George Bush Senior, I kind of made a promise to myself that the only grave I would ever dance on was Margaret Thatcher's, so I'm not going to get into, you know, too much like bad mouthing the guy, but at the same time, see where we are now with Trump, it's his fault.
Oh, 100%.
He, along with Rumsfeld and Cheney and all the rest of it, gave us Reagan. You know what I mean? Like, and Reagan was this actor who was going to be the facade, the smiley face of the horrible shit they were doing in the background at the time, but then gave us Bush Senior, Bush Junior, and now when you look at the similarities between the rise of Reagan and the rise of Trump, you know, guys like Nixon and that, like there is a through line that comes for it, and a big part of it comes for the journey that George Bush Senior was on.
That's another one as well. The guy that tried to assassinate Ronald Reagan was a guy called John Warnock Hinckley Jr.
Yeah.
And Hinckley and the Bush families are like so tightly connected, so that's another one where it's like one guy tries to assassinate him, and George Bush Senior was the vice president at the time, so he would have took
Ascended.
over. He would have been the president. One guy one family friend of the Bushes tries to kill the president, the other one does 9/11. So their families are definitely into some sort of dodgy shit, man, I think. But
you're never going to get the answer.
I know this is kind of terrible to say this, but with the current presidency, it's kind of strange to look back on George W. and be like fondly looking back at him. Because compared to what is happening now, you know, we're not just making it up. These are real things, and a real terror and for the rest of the world is Donald Trump, whether he knows it or not. But
climate
just to
change
look,
stuff. I mean, it's got a 4,000-page, 4-year study by thousands of worldwide scientists that explain man-made climate change. And I think, like an American discourse, Trump has manipulated, you know, climate change is global warming. There's no warming because it's cold, and that's my logic. When the actual argument is man-made climate change. And this report is like, yeah, it's there, and he spent 2 weeks going, no, it's not. And you're like, you're arguing against your own administration now. You know what I mean? Like, he's bonkers.
Yeah.
So
he's like Biff Tannen, you know, like.
Well, what about Back to the Future?
when he comes back as like the whatever president, you know, the millionaire guy, it's just.
He runs it. I think is he the president?
Butch. Is it Butch? Is his name? Not Butch. Biff.
Biff Tannen. I think he just owns a casino.
Okay.
I think that's
so
as
he's like
far as he
supremely
gets.
rich. I
But
think it was
he's the richest guy.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
Oh no, he becomes the mayor. Because it doesn't really leave Hill Valley.
Yeah.
So he becomes like the top guy in Hill Valley. I think if they'd made him the president of the United States, it would have been like
Far-fetched.
We need to try and keep it inside Hill Valley. I love the Back to the Future movies, man. Like,
I've been watching. I just watched the three of them over again. But the one that always excites me when I get to it is the third one. You know, it's just there's something like more like it's more-ish. It's everything of the past two, but just more.
Yeah.
And it has that 80s, early 90s vibe to it, so it's a bit more clearer than the
I think
previous
when you
ones.
see the first two, they're kind of like flip sides at each other, whereas obviously the third one is its own thing. You know what I mean? Like, and I always like a good western.
Of course.
I watched the Buster Scruggs thing with the new Coen Brothers one recently.
Is it any good?
Oh.
Is this the
It's
one on
like
Netflix?
6 short stories,
Right, okay.
but like it's stunning. So it is. Like, but
Some
it's
people are
out there.
saying it's all style and no substance.
Quite possible, but then you can say that about almost any Coen Brothers movie. If you like them, you're going to like it. If you don't, it's probably not going to be for you. But I do.
I do like them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the thing about Back to the Future 3 for me was I always wanted to see the movie where he had the train.
Yeah.
Like fucking flying.
Spoiler.
Where's part 4? Where the fuck's part 4?
I can always talking about remaking it, and most people don't want that. They want a Back to the Future 4, not a straight up remake. Because it'd be pretty weird. Like, how would you do? You would have to just continue it.
I think there's probably a number of movies out there that we should just agree as a society that they're perfect the way they are. And if you want to make sequels like the way they've done with the Alien movies and stuff like that, great. But like, don't ever go back and remake Aliens 1 and 2. Like, just don't do it. So, I could get behind like new Back to the Future movies, but if somebody tried to remake the originals, I think I'd want it bombed in every cinema in the country.
People just seem to forget. I don't know how they forget this. Like people that are, I guess it all comes down to money, because if it's made that much money over it, but is the technology that was used to make that film is what makes it special as well. Like Terminator 1, Terminator 2 equally great movies but very different. Like the first one's sort of horror, the second one's action, and quintessentially 80s. And that the cameras that were used for the second one and the sort of style of the animatronics is what makes it so special. You can't replicate that with modern technology.
No, definitely not.
So why should you make it again? It won't be the same. It's a no-brainer.
And I think that's what makes a lot of these movies great, is because they did something that nobody had ever seen before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And for me, it's nostalgia as well. Like when I watch Terminator, I'm not sitting thinking, oh, look at that looks amazing. I did when I was like 5 and 6, but it's more than nostalgia. It's like
it takes you back to that time when you watch it, and you're in the sort of guise of how you perceive the world at that point in time, and you can see it for what it is. It's all relative, but if you watch it now, I guess it wouldn't be the same, because I can't, like, I hate Labyrinth. I didn't watch it when I was younger, so I have no ties to it whatsoever. So when I watch it now, I'm just like, this is dog shit. You know?
We were talking about that, and I was talking about the Warriors. I was doing a thing where we're just kind of trying to watch movies I've always meant to get around to and stuff like that, and I didn't feel that for the Warriors, but then I didn't watch the Warriors at the time, and I think that's what you were saying.
It's a huge part of enjoying a movie from back then is if you've seen it when it came out.
I mean, Terminator 2, I remember when he walks through the bars and he reveals himself as the sort of fallen liquid metal that actually being away and being like, Jesus, you know what I mean, like being wow, that was amazing, you know what I mean, like that. So
pretty sure at the time, was it not like the biggest budget that had ever been given? Like, at the time it was like James Cameron
I think he was like to throw money at it, didn't he?
He proved himself enough, I think. He was like, give me the money, I want, and I can remember the buzz that was about that movie at the time. It was like fucking incredible, and you got one of my favourite toys came for the Terminator 2 range, where it was like you got the Terminator and you put him in like a wee sort of casket and you poured like sort of goo, you pressed it and it took the mould and it was like skin, you could rip the skin off it was fucking incredible.
Wow. I'm looking forward to the new one, the Linda Hamilton back.
Are they making another one?
They're making a new one where she's...
Is Arnold in this?
Yeah, it's like, so it's as if the Khaleesi one didn't happen.
Right, okay.
So it's picking up for the end of Terminator 2. So
time did happen,
but then there's that many different realities and off branches. I think they're just going to write everything after Terminator 2 out and pick up where they left off. in some respect. They've got two younger lassies that will, I'd assume, do all the action stuff like, you know, Shia LaBeouf does for, you know, Bruce Willis or whatever, and, you know, whatever they're in. No, Shia LaBeouf. What was the one in Die Hard 4?
Oh, yeah.
The young lads, where they've got Hollywood action stars. I was thinking Indiana Jones with Shia LaBeouf, where they've got new young guys to stand next to the old cool guys and go and do all the action stuff.
Aye.
So I think they're going to go down that road there.
I won't be able to
movie
follow
that should never come out of anyone's mouth is Indiana Jones 4.
Oh my god. I think South Park absolutely nailed it, like they fucking raped and savaged the Indiana Jones fucking trilogy with that absolute monstrosity. I think people feel the same. I mean, we spoke about Star Wars in your podcast, and I think people feel the same about the first three, or the second trilogy.
Yeah, the prequels.
The prequels, aye, they're an abomination, absolute fucking abomination.
I mean, I quite enjoyed the last one just to see how he became Darth Vader. There was loads of like terrible parts to it, but it was just the scenes with Obi-Wan was just amazing.
Oh, aye.
But yeah, that's probably the only one that I give attention to.
When you have a pure genre-defining like end of trilogy battle, you might as well do it on a Lake of Fire.
Yeah.
I like
Anakin,
that.
it's over. I am the higher ground. Sorry, I watched that.
I mean, war was born.
I can remember sort of. I thought that movie was actually really good up until the and I can remember sitting and just like, oh my god, like in an Odeon, like standing outside waiting on a bus with an ex-girlfriend, and she was like, did you enjoy it? And I was just like, don't speak about it, don't want to talk about it. No. I think they've actually like edited that out, haven't they? They've changed
I'm
that.
not sure.
Like it's such a bad fucking review that final scene, and it could have been so much better. It could have been.
But there are good ones. Like I like the new Han Solo.
Yeah.
It got slated, and I thought I'm going to hate this. You know, Han Solo is such an iconic character. The guy barely looks like him, if at all.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was so dark. Like I had
enjoyed
really
it.
dark tone to it.
Same with Rogue One, I really enjoyed that too. You know what I mean? I like
people
the
found
North shoots. There's so much room for them to manoeuvre into now, and Disney are going to just apply the Avengers formula to it, and we're going to have, you know, 400.
There's Star Wars, no lightsabers. People are a bit disappointed.
Yeah.
But there's more to it than just that sort of Jedi storyline.
Well, it was worth it just to see Darth Vader at the end, his palace
In the castle.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Fucking good was
like just
that one.
the bit where he turns on the lightsaber in the tunnel and it's complete pitch black and all you can see the red lightsaber.
I think one of the big problems
Amazing.
that Star Wars has got going forward is that people take it a wee bit too seriously. Like, I know there's been times in the past when I've been fanatical about it as a younger guy and stuff like that. I went and watched The Last Jedi and people were going absolutely tonto about how it was this and that, and right, fair enough, the slow motion car chase between the two spaceships is a bit weak, right?
2 hours. 2 hours.
I'm not going to say it's not without fault.
Spaceship chase ever.
And the physics define blasters as well, like the curved ones.
Right.
Sorry, don't get me started.
No, you'll have just scored like 10 brownie points to one of our mates because he talks about how it's physically inaccurate, and I'm like, dude, it's Star Wars.
Like the bombs drop in as well, it's like they're in space. Like, how's their gravity in space?
Aye. But I'm like, if there's a lightsaber fight in it, I'm jamming.
no, it's
I'm
all
good, you know what I mean? What?
Do you know what? There were some elements to it that were amazing, like the bit where the guy went through the battleship ship, the sort of light speed.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it just the whole movie did nothing for me.
It's just the fact that people are talking about the physics of the fucking blasters and the bombs, and yet they go but light speed. Totally get that. I totally get
You have to have some perspective, like it is like a
Exactly.
outside space. You know.
It was like the sort of Jar Jar Binks when people were like, oh fucking Jar Jar, it's like, dude, you just sit and watch the Ewoks. Like, I don't think you can really take like some sort of like adult high ground about how Jar Jar's a kid's character and it shouldn't be a kid's movie. They're all kids movies.
It's also very racist as well.
You think so?
Yeah.
How is Jar Jar
Like
Binks
this
supposed to
dumb
be?
Afro-Caribbean type
I never really got that.
representation.
I didn't get the subtlety in that when I was a wee guy. I've never really got that. I can, again, another community an Odeon with my dad and going, I always fucking, my dad's dead now, but he used to always remind me of this. I came out and was like, that's the best movie I've ever seen. Because, I mean, when did episode 1 come out? 99?
Yeah.
So I was 15 and was Star Wars fucking mad. And just came out and was just like,
I never got a chance to see them when the original ones came out. So to be alive
Go and see
be able
the
to see
special editions.
no.
that was what 96. They did
With the
special
episode
editions.
4
They remastered the first remastered versions that they released on VHS, and they put them in the pictures, and then they did them in 3D.
Right, okay.
And they were in like cinemas. Missed a couple of opportunities to see them.
So, just to change the subject slightly, did you see this thing with Floyd Mayweather and DJ Khaled?
Oh, really?
They've been fined for a cryptocurrency scam.
Alright.
Where Floyd Mayweather got fined 100,000 from the SEC.
That's like pocket change.
I know, and DJ Khaled got fined 50 grand for being in a cryptocurrency scam.
Alright. What does that entail?
I think the company that they were paid to endorse, but they supposedly weren't paid to, didn't really have a company, so they were linked to it and they were getting money from it. They weren't really selling, like they didn't have physical things like
like a pyramid
an
scheme
office or something like that. So they were done for sort of fraud as well.
Some of the stuff that they get into is a bit wild. I mean, I can't remember what I was watching recently, but it was a thing about kind of influencers and the online advertising, how people need to be a wee bit more open about who they're being paid by and all that kind of stuff. And it came into that guy DJ Khaled, and he was sitting having breakfast.
Who is
He's DJ Khaled. He announces himself every time he's in a song. You'll know.
He's the dude for the "you just played yourself" meme.
And he was also in Justin Bieber's song.
I think he's one of these producers that everybody's like working with and stuff like that.
Anyway, it's like a Beetlejuice version of himself.
Right.
The Beetlejuice guy, the black.
I saw that like Cardi B versus he's that type of dude.
He looks like a bit of a knob.
Aye, but he's actually sitting at a breakfast bar, bowl of cereal, and he's filling it with champagne and strawberry flavoured vodka, and they're obviously like pure high brand, high Cristal and that, and he's sitting munching cereal and booze, and you're like, and they're going, be more open about what you're advertising. I'm pretty sure he's very clear about what he's advertising there. Like, I don't know anybody could have looked at that video and thought, this is what this guy does in his real life. You know what I mean? Like,
it's became really prominent since things like Herbalife, or people like Kim Kardashian endorsing like shit yourself fucking shakes, and they're like, oh yeah, if you want this body, drink that, and it's like, you've had about fucking $25,000 of plastic surgery, you fucking moron.
What about Gwyneth Paltrow and her fucking vag eggs?
Oh Jesus
that was crazy.
Was weird.
What was this?
She was promoting these, like, selling these eggs that went in your vag.
The Kegel.
They were like in tune with your the sun and the fucking stars on your vag. You put it up there and it would make you harmonious and feel
well. Really. The science behind that is that
there is that.
Well, there is.
It's different to Surian company to get it taken off the shelves.
It's different. So the eggs are things that are they were created, I believe, probably wrong, as you know, I'm always wrong. But I know what they do. They're for like pregnancy recovery. So if your is a bit loose, and you put it up, and basically like because you need to keep it inside. Like, so if I'm sure this is what it is. So you basically like tense the pelvic floor to keep the egg inside, and then it
over time
it builds up.
I'm not sure those. Like it might be just a rebranding of that, but I think her one was specifically this was.
It was talking about holistic.
That's what I was going to say. That they're selling it as something that's going to like balance you and stuff like that, and when really all it's really doing is working a muscle, like, and making your vag a bit fucking tighter. I think
she definitely wasn't happy anyway. I think she like sued them. Was it like 4 or 5 million she got or something? You know what I mean? Like, but it was like basically a whole company. You know what I mean?
This is Goo as well. There was some,
I think the company's called Goo. I think something like that.
The problem with that is that these people have got huge teams that sit behind them that will be like selling them a product. So they'll come to somebody and they'll be like, oh, there's this great product, and they'll just be like, fine, just give me it and I'll post it on Instagram, and then all of a sudden it's found out to be a scam, and then these individuals are having to go, oh fuck that. But if you've made money out of it, you should rightfully so hand it back.
I think one franchises now celebrities, you know what I mean, in that respect.
I think one of the biggest examples of that is Herbalife with Cristiano Ronaldo.
Right.
Like, if you see
back that?
Well, he's sponsored by them.
Oh, is he?
He's like, It's insane. You see him drinking the shakes, all that on commercials. How much of that he does in real life, I don't know.
No, they spit it out. Right, he'll take a mouthful of the shake and then he'll be spitting it
He
out.
knows there's nothing in it. He's built like an absolute fucking tank. You know what I'm saying? He knows there's nothing in. There's nothing good for you. There's nothing bad for you.
This guy trains 18 hours a day, like 7 days a week. Herbalife isn't the cause of his, but he's success.
He does a minimum of like 1,000 sit-ups every day. So when you're doing their team talks and they're doing their tactics,
he's doing crunches in the background.
Doing crunches. So that's how you get a body like that. You work fucking hard.
Yeah.
There's no protein shake out there that's going to make you a brick shit house.
He's taking real loads as well, I suppose.
He's taking what?
Real loads.
What's that?
Like men's loads.
Oh right, yeah. I mean,
he's gay.
We were talking
oh fuck, aye. You couldn't like.
Allegedly.
They don't.
Well, no, it's
not
like
like he's
to meet Badahari, who's a famous K1 fighter, like the champion, and supposedly those two are, you know.
Is this the Moroccan lad?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen this. I've seen the stories, and they go to the celebrity, you know, ranch somewhere in Morocco once a year or whatever, and get their privacy and stuff like that.
Scissor.
Whatever, touch bombs or whatever.
They use Gwyneth Paltrow's eggs.
I mean, that sexual assault thing that popped up with Cristiano Ronaldo was so strange.
Yeah.
So weird.
Was it someone in LA or something, or America?
Vegas.
Vegas.
Anally raped her as well. It wasn't even like he just like.
I mean, it sounds maybe plausible.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think he didn't offer to pay her off just so that he didn't, you know, it didn't affect his brand. Was what he said.
Even just someone saying that against you, like, not that, you know, someone
whether it's true or not.
whether it's true or not, it's still going to have a drastic.
This guy's on like 500 grand a week. If somebody's like, give me 300 grand, I'll go away. He's just going to just go away.
But that makes you look
you know
guilty.
what I mean? It does. But it's, getting accused of something like that in the modern age, you look guilty. You know, whether you did it or not anyway. You know, obviously.
But if you've done it, you know, then you deserve to get everything that comes towards you.
Totally.
You know, but if it's something that someone's just throwing that towards you, then what can you do?
Yeah.
Like, it's such a hard situation.
Do you think that celebrities that are, I mean, I sort of don't really know where I stand on this, but do you think they should get anonymity?
But in what respect?
If they're accused of sexual assault or rape or pretty much anything, do you think that there should be some sort of form of anonymity until at least they're charged?
Like not naming people who are below a certain age in a case because, you know, they're underage. Like, are you saying like not naming a child?
Yeah, you're talking about injunctions and stuff.
Just until at least they're charged and at least it's going to court, and then you can name them, because then it's past the point of just an accusation.
But what happens if someone names them? Like, you're not going to keep that in.
So many people.
So you're going to get sued for naming someone.
Yeah, and also as well is that when they do name them, that's when they get the proof.
Yeah.
Most of the time, that's when people start to come out the woodwork. Horrible way of putting it.
It might just take something like that, especially with like Jimmy Savile.
Yeah.
It might just take that one thing. Well, it's his death that has to stop that. But someone came out after that, and it might just take that. I mean,
well, they came out well before he fucking died. It just gets buried. I mean, if you look into, if you talk to conspiracy theories, if you look into some of the talk about why Jill Dando died,
I mean, I know
that's a big one. Like, and it's very believable when you actually look into what happened and who.
That was a strange one. Like, I remember I was quite young when it happened. I remember my mum being really upset. I've only seen her like really upset about two things that was to do with a celebrity, and it was Princess Diana and Jill Dando. And I remember just being like, this is so strange that someone shot her on her doorstep in the middle of this nice place in London. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, when has that ever happened?
Yeah, I think that's why there is a conspiracy theory around about it. Whether or no the conspiracy, like I said, when you read into it, it's very convincing, but so are a lot. And you're like, nah, that's not true.
The theory goes that she was just about to uncover the whole BBC paedophile ring, supposedly, and they just obviously sent a gunman round and
took care of it. Whether or not you believe it or not, or whether you don't believe the BBC are capable, or who's been
probably more likely the BBC would have passed it to, you know, the government people who are implicated, and it's went for them, you know, if that's what happened.
But that's one of the ones that.
So if you pay for the BBC, you directly, like for your TV license, you directly paid for Jill Dando to be well, the cap in her ass.
Supposedly, but you're definitely been paying for the salaries of a lot of fucking child abusers.
Yeah.
That's just fact. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, for fucking radio presenters right up to like the executives, there's been this horrible.
They say it goes as far as that place on the island that's part of the British Isles. Remember, they found bones at this. Is it an old sort of like a home or something. Remember, it came out like a couple of years ago, and there was children's bones found in this like.
Is this somewhere? Is
Like a
this some of the schools in Northern Ireland or something like
I
that?
think it was. No, I don't think it was. I'm talking out my ass, but it was like Gibraltar or something.
Oh,
like,
right,
no,
okay,
like
right.
these type of places. Geneva. Geneva's like is that part of Britain?
That's Switzerland.
Oh right, okay. Talking out my arse.
The Geneva Convention.
Sorry, I'm hungover. I blame that for my stupidity.
Excuses. But no, I think that, I mean, one of the things that really gets my goat nowadays, I mean, as well, hating to bring it into it, but as a Celtic supporter, there was this famous guy that was a coach at Celtic Boys Club that 100% was a child abuser.
Yeah.
But there's this whole sort of thing on the other side of the spectrum of Rangers fans are basically like, it's been indoctrined in right the way through your club, and you've just covered it up. And you're like, I think that that's the case throughout all institutions, and to some respect that there is definitely this horrible thing that's been going on that nobody really wants to acknowledge or know about or talk about, but kids, I mean, vulnerable kids get abused.
Anywhere with access to kids is going to attract predators. And I think that's a reality that we're only really just kind of waking up to as a society, you know, in terms of what's been on in recent years with investigations and new trees and stuff like that.
And if you're royalty or part of the government, you're sort of somewhat above the law, and those things are going to be more commonplace.
Yeah.
Because it's going to attract that type of person to that position. I'm not saying it happens. I mean, there's all sorts of conspiracies about between Prince Charles and his uncle. Like his uncle was banging
Mountbatten.
Yeah. And,
he disappeared.
Did he?
Yeah.
I think they had killed him, my bomb.
Is that what it was? Who was the guy that disappeared? Who was the
Lord Loken?
Yeah, it was Mountbatten. Yeah, he was supposedly like a royal paedophile. With Prince Andrew's
giving out the baton probably.
but but Prince Andrew's got a super injunction in the UK where he's not allowed to be named in any sort of things, but I don't know if that's got anything to do with the fact that he's been involved or accusations, or it's just that he's closely linked to that American dude, Andrew.
Well, I can't remember.
I heard that the Queen's got a warrant against her in some country where a bunch of kids came over on exchange and she took them all out to lunch and they never ever made it back to their country. It's like 30 kids.
Really?
And they supposedly her and her husband went out on a picnic. And that was the last time all these kids were seen from, I think it was somewhere in Canada maybe?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'd read about that as well, and it is Canada.
Right. The arrest warrant, I think, is if she goes a certain place in Canada, then
they could arrest her, but they would never get
of course
fucking doing it. I mean, the first time that they met, he was 18, she was 12, and she said to her mum, like, I want to marry that man, and then they had set up obviously like meetings so they could meet her and start talking to her. And you're like, that's grooming. I mean, she's 12-year-old and that's a man that you're basically like allowing groom, but
because it's royalty. Like,
you
need to keep around that.
That's it.
They know like second cousins as well or something.
Well, they all are. They're all like first cousins probably.
Yeah.
They had to go all the way to Greece just to get
such
blood that wasn't tied to them.
Now, so it's like
It frustrates me a lot.
Yeah.
Like I don't get. I had to talk about this on my to point to it here. The latest podcast with Chancellor Puddinhead, not his real name, but I did a post on Instagram about should we still have the royalty.
Fuck no, is would be my answer to that question.
Yeah. And he like a lot. It was a landslide of people saying no.
Okay.
But he said yes, and you know I've never thought of him as someone who supports the royal. So we talked about it when he was on the show, and his answer was that it's sort of we need that extra level of above the government for someone to be able to say like to uphold the law. And I was like, but
when has that ever happened?
I know. And it's like. I think he
can't
get
cut the head off the last king that tried that. You know what I mean? Like,
I think he just can't get past the whole. It's so ingrained in him that the Queen is part of the institution that he can't see past not having it, and that you need that Queen there for some reason. And it's not the story.
Yeah, I mean, it is part of some people, obviously in the UK, a lot of people's identity. You know what I mean? That's a tradition that they honour and recognise.
I mean the English.
I could be, well, I mean,
that's from Glasgow.
And some Northern Ireland.
That's the west of Scotland as well, Ayrshire, huge into the royals and shit.
But for me, I could live with like an almost kind of like Scandinavian kind of Dutch model where they're actual people who happen to have these titles in this sort of lineage, but like I think like the King of Holland was like a lawyer
Yeah.
and is married to a commoner, and like he'll go and open the Dutch Parliament and put the robe on and all the rest of it, and then the minute that's done he's away back to his day job. He's like a normal sort of qualified professional. It just so happens that he performs certain ceremonial duties at times, but that's it.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of countries where they went, we'll recognise that we have a tradition in this country, but at the same time it also has to be modern.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And also they shouldn't be getting millions in fucking state aid, which is essentially just the biggest benefit fucking claimants in the country. Like,
he's one of the biggest arms dealers in the world. You know what I mean? Literally one of the biggest arms dealers in the world.
Pardon,
and we're getting a 30 million quid a year.
And that's the whole thing with dealing with the Saudi Arabians.
So I was just going to say that,
like it came out this week that there's a whole host of countries just getting on board with not dealing with them.
Yeah.
You know, and dealing arms, which is a weird thing to do in the first place. But to say I'm not doing it with Saudi Arabia is a great thing, and the UK just is so, not the UK, the UK government is so not moving on this.
Yeah.
Because it's one of their biggest supporters.
we are part of, well, we are desperately clinging on to this, but we are definitely part of some sort of weird thing that's going on between Israel, Saudi Arabia and America, and we are definitely in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But there's something going on between they three to try and push some sort of like world vision, I think, and then the other side of that is the sort of Chinese and the Russians, and their idea of where the world should be going. And I think that we,
like communism versus sort of capitalism in a sense.
I don't even know if it's quite even that anymore.
I think the ideas have become a wee bit more centralised.
Yeah, it's became centralised,
and it's just different visions.
Yeah, I don't know what the visions are. I've got absolutely no idea, but there's definitely some sort of like proxy battle between these states. But we are definitely somebody that's sort of clinging on for dear life to this, to be part of it. We want to be part of it. We want to be part of it. I think that potentially Europe's distancing itself from this.
Trying to look at us in.
Yeah, and I think this is what Brexit's about, is that we want to be independent so that whatever the vision is, we're a main player.
So money laundering laws is a big part of that, and I think when you look at British interests in relation to Saudi Arabia and places like that, I mean, the Saudis, and when you look at the guy bin Sam Halan or whatever his name, the Crown Prince just now, so they're on this, massive PR offensive, but he's doing some really shady shit, including in Yemen. But like, the UK wants Saudi oil, and Saudis understand that Saudi oil is one day going to eventually run out, and that once that happens, all the money and wealth that they have in their country is going to pretty much disappear. So they're, for me, looking to get as much of that money out of Saudi Arabia and legitimised and laundered through like massive purchases all across the city of London. Like Manchester City, PSG, like this is a money laundering operation. That
you guys are going to have to talk amongst yourselves. I'm just going to have to go to the bathroom.
Oh, it's alright, guys. Don't worry about it.
And as I say, like it's a money laundering operation. Like Abramovich did it, when to a certain degree when he took over Chelsea, he took over oil and gas in Russia at a degree that was unheard of before. And then, as it was taken through corrupt means, had to find a way to wash that money and make it legitimate again through things like Gazprom and Chelsea and all the rest of it. So, the UK is a hotspot for essentially the washing of illegitimate money. And the EU laws would have stopped that, and I think Brexit, as you say, is massively influenced by the changes that are coming like 2019 in the EU for money laundering.
So this is saying that they've got a thing called SoftBank's Vision Fund, which is where the Saudis are washing their money in Silicon Valley. So we're just talking there about, we'll let you get started back in. But what Matt was saying is that Brexit's a way for them to legitimise the laundering of money through capitalism, through like the sort of Middle East and Russia and stuff like that. And he was saying about like how Abramovich did it through Gazprom and
Chelsea and stuff like that.
The Saudi royal family are the single biggest investor in Uber.
What? I didn't even know this.
They've got a thing called.
One of the startup investors was on?
Just barely. So there's
a whole.
There's a thing called Vision Fund, and it's got $45 billion American dollars, and they're using that to invest in Silicon Valley alone. And that's why.
See, it kind of makes sense that Uber's just never disappeared after the amount of allegations that's been put forward against the people that have been working. You know, it just that would bury most companies that are on the up and up. But it never went away. They paid their fines and have corrected course slightly.
So this is why, I mean, like you were saying earlier on about like, we look back at like Bush Jr. and be like, fuck. Like sort of wistfully looking back, going like, we wish we could have somebody as good as him. That I had an argument with one of my cousins. It wasn't really an argument, it was just a backwards and forwards on Facebook. He's Canadian and he's very liberal.
Okay.
And he was going on.
It tends to be
a thing of
part of our society, but it's fair enough.
And I hate Justin Trudeau. Sorry, despise Justin Trudeau.
Really?
Yeah, he's just a faker. It's all a brand thing.
Yeah,
he has like Tony Blair. He's a Canadian Tony Blair. Same as Macron in fucking France.
But it's better to be in a liberal society than it is to be in anything else. You just have to be able to. Yeah, I'm sidetracking. So.
No, sorry. He was going on about how Trump had come out and basically went, if you can go and find $100 billion in arms sales, then I'll do it more ethically. But Saudis are the only ones that are buying, and I need to sell.
And I'm going to be honest with you, that's
I kind of
I respected what Trump had to say.
This was the argument that I had.
Obama and all the previous US presidents, I mean, they've all went and kissed the ring in Saudi Arabia. You know what I mean? Like, but they've always talked about progress in the region and women can drive, and we're going to
shouldn't even be a conversation.
We're going to civilise them by throwing subways on every street corner. You know what I mean? Like that nonsense. Whereas Trump's went, we want the money. And you're like, that's always been the answer. That's always been the answer.
And it's like, do you want the truth? Do you want Obama? Like, I mean, I've got nothing against like Barack Obama, but he smiled at people and he was a great politician.
Yeah.
But as a person, like morally,
there was a duality.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that my thing with that thing with Trump is that I was just saying, look, this is the most honest that any American politician has ever been. And you're sitting there going, this is disgusting. Look at it, and it's like, well, it depends on what you want. Like,
there's also a huge amount of dishonesty as well.
Oh, definitely. It's just this one isolated incident.
Yeah.
Like, you can live in a sort of political bubble and be like, no, there's no way that Barack Obama did that. And it's like, he dropped more bombs than any other fucking president. I mean, they ran out of bombs in 2016.
I think when you put yourself in a bracket, like, it's sort of immovable. Like, you can't see when someone is saying something that's positive, regardless of whether they're Trump or not. People are going to say good things. Like Genghis Khan, he opened the spice route in the trades. He killed a lot of people for that to happen.
Yeah.
But these are just the affects of these type of people that are in the presidency. Like, you can't just say, I hate that guy regardless of good ideas that come out of his mouth. Because the chances is, the whole how many years that he's in office, something's going to come out of his mouth that people are going to be like, well, okay, I agree with him there, but he's fucking an arsehole.
No, totally. I mean, look at that. I watched recently the Doctor Who episode on the partition in India. So again, somebody like Winston Churchill, who at that time is hailed as a World War II winning hero, leader, great man, and all the rest of it, led to millions upon millions of deaths in India through the decisions the British government made. So I mean, there is that kind of duality with a lot of folk. You know what I mean? Where you can't. I don't think it is right to ever be like remembering somebody by their greatest or worst moment. You know what I mean? Because you're a combination of the lot. And
people are people. And you're going to do things that other people do.
Yeah.
I think that's why we try and hold people to such high esteem, like presidents or the royal family. Like, you want them to be perfect because you want to hope that humans can aspire to that level of perfection. So when they do things, you just are like, nah, never happened. It's just like, well, that's not true.
And you're projecting what you want for the world onto them rather than acknowledging maybe who they are all the time.
I think it feeds into sort of basic psychology as well, is that you need to feel safe. And if you're sitting thinking like the people in charge are fucking idiots or they're lying to you, and that is genuinely what you believe, it would cause you to feel sort of disassociated. Probably a lot of why I feel disassociated. I think in Scotland, like,
it's easier to feel sort of disenfranchised in Scotland because we're part of the UK. Westminster's down in London, we didn't get, like a lot of people wanted independence, that didn't happen. We didn't want to leave the EU, and that's just not been heard. So it's easy to just sort of say
the terms in which Scotland's about to be forced to leave is outrageous when you look at some of the preferential treatment that Gibraltar is getting its own, you know, bespoke deal with Northern Ireland. I mean, the investment that can go into Northern Ireland now as a result of some of the terms of their deal by comparison to ours it is literally the hamstringing of the Scottish economy, and you're like, that not only have we went against our political will, they're also vandalising our economy to try and keep us weak. You know what I mean?
On the flip side, the right in Northern Ireland is like beside itself. It's like, it's so bigoted and so single-minded that they can't see that they're getting a preferential
They
deal.
want the same shit deal as England because that makes them feel British. And you're like, what the fuck is that?
You know what I mean?
we want the same amount of shaft that England's getting.
I mean, the Brexit has literally been the definition. I think we'll look back at Brexit and it will be defined as, that is what identity politics looks like. When somebody puts down something in front of you and goes, this will stop this one thing, basically immigration, this one thing that you hate, but all the rest of your country's going to go to fuck, but you'll still vote for it because
we're paying £39 billion to leave the EU, to have a lot of what we already have with the EU, that they say and how it's driven, but we're losing free movement. And it is literally 39 billion quid to get rid of brown people.
Yeah.
And you're like,
the people that we've
what?
displaced
Do you
from
see
a lot of
Gareth
places as well.
Did you see Gareth Southgate last night?
yeah,
I thought that was
it was beautiful.
like astounding to see an English football manager stand up and talk about the players of colour in his squad and going, I don't know how I can expect these young boys to react when that Brexit decision was largely racially based. And you're like, and when we know the trouble that English football hooliganism, English football fans have had over the years, it's not limited to just them, so I'm not trying to single them out anyway, but I thought it was so powerful to have an English football manager come out and go, would I tell my black players, you know, would I tell my players of colour, my players of other nations that are, maybe have descent elsewhere and are coming here, have come here for better lives, would I say to them? And you're like, that was amazing.
Like there's a sense of, from England, that they feel like they're fucked, and when it happens, there's nothing they can do. So I think there's parts of England that can be somewhat envious of Scotland, because it seems like there is some sort of choice left there, whether it's another referendum to get out of it or Brexit doesn't happen. Like it just feels that Scotland has slightly more hope than England does, and I almost feel sorry for the way, the direction England's heading in.
Yeah.
Do you think that part of it's like, if there's this hopelessness about in England, do you think that they're particularly just like, I don't really give a fuck how bad this is going to be, because life's just, I mean, there are parts of England, especially like the north, like north of Oxford, Nottingham, anywhere north of that, where life is really fucking hard, really fucking shit. And perhaps it's just a bit of nihilism, just like fuck it.
Sunderland was what, 12,000 employees in Nissan, you know, Nissan factory. You know, one of the, you know, Nissan used Sunderland as a gateway to the EU for their products, you know what I mean, in terms of, you know, export, import sort of things. And, you know, places like Sunderland voted like 75% leave, and you're like, dude, you literally just killed the industry that is keeping your entire city afloat, you know what I mean? Like, and I think it's the same thing in America. We like, look at Trump voters, right? So he's walking across America, going across America on the campaign trail going, jobs, industry, Rust Belt, all that kind of stuff. GM was a big one. GM, I will force GM to keep jobs in America. They won't go to Mexico, blah, blah, blah. Last week, GM announced that we're closing 4 American factories and laying off 15,000 Americans. Like, so you're like, you know, this promise that he explicitly went out to the, you know, the people and went, vote for me, ignore all the crazy shit. I'm going to get you jobs, I'm going to keep you jobs. And there's nearly, you know, 15,000 people now out of work.
Is it because it's not viable to try and do that, you know, within the current system? Is that what it is, or is it nefarious sort of thing?
My point was more about people voting against their own best interests, and you know, in the face of all the evidence to say this is a really bad idea, they still take the leap to fully Brexit or fully Trump, and then the instant results are they're fucked. You know what I mean? Like,
so hatred trumps all, I guess. That wasn't a pun, obviously.
But I think, like what you were saying, that no matter what, no matter who gets in charge, things are going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to shift the industries abroad and bring down the cost of labour, because if they don't do that, like you just said, it's unsustainable. But I think that there's an easy way out. Make less money.
Yep.
And stop targeting growth.
Yeah.
Like the actual growth parts of the planet are these places that you're going and forcing slavery almost in people. Like Africa, like the amount of growth that could be done industry wise and in Africa is insane, but they just won't do it because
sweatshops as well in India. Like you see these things making garments for H&M, and it's like, why is people not stopping this just because it's cheaper to do it?
It's like
it's a shite.
A lot of people say
what's a shite H&M t-shirt for fucking £7? I don't.
No.
That's it. I had a conversation with, I talk about this guy a lot, he probably knows it, he's listened and knows who I'm talking about, because he will recognise the arguments, because all we do is fucking argue with each other. He'd say to me that if this was before Trump, right? So when it was Trump, he was saying he's going to bring industry back to America, and it would be like, but we've had arguments about how much that would cost. And so he'd say to me, like, would you be willing to give up your iPhone, because your iPhone would cost $5,000 if they made it in the UK? And you go, no, here's a novel idea for you. How about Apple doesn't have more money than the US economy? Like, the only reason that they're citing that is so that they can make the same amount of money. They need to just accept the fact that they can't put trillions into a tax haven. Take that money out, reinvest it, and give people back their fucking money.
This is a lot like socialism or communism that you're talking about, and people are very scared of that when you start to talk about capping capitalism. You know, when do you stop people? I mean, should you be paid adequately for your creativity and your performance as a company? Like, or should that be capped? That's what people are scared of, that big C word.
Like maximum income. So there's a minimum income, but there's no maximum income. I would say that billions is more than fucking adequate for coming up with a mobile phone. Like it's like, how much money does an individual need? Like, I don't think that you're right. It would be sort of counterproductive. No,
absolutely.
And it's the argument that is the right argument to make. It's like, it would be counterproductive for entrepreneurialism, and why would anybody be creative if they can't make? But when one company gets so much money that it's got more money than the country that it fucking started. It's like, it's getting gross.
And to think that they don't influence politics when they have that much money is completely insane. You know, these large companies are always, even Tesco leans on local government over here, and you see outcomes shift when you see an influx of Tesco in a certain area.
It's definitely something that power that comes along with it, something that's definitely evident recently. I mean, they had the San Bernardino shooters in America where they had communications on their iPhones, and the FBI went to Apple and went, we can't get by the fingerprint, like, we need you to unlock this phone. And Apple went, go fuck yourself. And you're like, it was an active terrorism investigation.
What do you think about that? Them saying no?
Well, they're going proprietary coding and algorithms and blah blah blah, but you're like, you could have done it. You know what I mean, and still protected your copyright and all that kind of stuff. I'm assuming so anyway, you know what I mean, like, but who knows what the government then does when they know how to crack it. You know, they could do
that's the thing, isn't it?
They probably, there'll be sections somewhere that probably know how to do that anyway, you
know? That's it. I mean, there's that side of it, so there's like, this is why I feel kind of disgusted with that sort of like bullshit that Apple have come out when we've told the American government they can't get into your phones. It's like, but your A9 chip's in a fucking drone. So you can't sit there and sort of take the moral high ground and we won't share your data, and if you die and your mum and dad come and ask, we'll be like, no, and everything's all protected, you can feel safe. And it's like, no. I think they pick and choose, like companies like Apple, and to go back to the sort of Tesco thing, the amount of people that they got for the government that were on benefits that were forced to go in their stores, that's the type of thing that's like
welfare to work.
Wait a minute, like America, like full shopping centres or get these people that are bussed for 3 hours for like suburbs that can't get a job into these shopping centres to basically sell donuts to fat people. It just
free labour.
It goes a bit sort of, I get a bit tense when I talk about like sort of these massive companies. Amazon's the next one. It's like, you need to, like, I know that I know what you mean with the socialism and people are scared of this sort of the commies or the lefties. It's like, there needs to be a balance between the left and the right. There needs to be, Amazon can't have that amount of power. Well, I mean, I was watching something, they'll talk about Amazon Web Services and the amount of companies in the world that use that service, including so they host Facebook and Google.
What Amazon does?
Yeah.
Through their own servers?
Yeah.
Wow.
They host all these government,
That's kind of creepy,
and they use that money that they get for that to plough into the Amazon that we know, that constantly just loses money, because what they're doing is driving down prices to put everybody out of business so that they can monopolise. And they don't fall into sort of anti-monopoly things because
they're not making any money.
Yeah, they're not making any money. So it's kind of like that sort of Starbucks thing where they're like, everything's a franchise, we don't actually make any money, but they're like, no, wait a minute.
I mean, it's madness. What I find odd about it, when you look at your Amazons, your Apples and stuff like that, we talk about the balance between, the socialist, lefty sort of thing and the capitalist thing. Like, for me, a company like Apple, I think recently came out and went, we're releasing a profits warning because this year we're only going to make $30 billion and last year it was 40, or whatever the actual figures were. And you're like, what? You know what I mean? And that's profit. So you're making like 10 billion less a year because you released a $2,000 phone that as many people
can afford.
they didn't buy or whatever. And you're like, but when is it enough? Do you really need to be like, shareholders, panic? We're making £10 billion less than last year, and you're like,
it's not a lot.
You know what I mean? How much is enough? You know what I mean? I don't know. But I think that's where the balance lies, somewhere in between profit warnings for 10 million quid and actually help people.
It's going to take some serious conversations with people much smarter than me to come up with something that's going to tie into modern society. We're using all these old school things like capitalism, which is a bastardization of the original sort of format. Same with communism. Like, if you read the Communist Manifesto and what it really was at the beginning, it's completely, it leaves, I mean, it was supposed to be for the benefit of society, but at the same time it also leaves the opportunity for one person to come through, and that always ends up in a bad place. But it's all about educating yourself on these things and not being scared of helping out your fellow man, you know? Like, just because when you put a communism or a socialist label on it, then that makes you feel like, it's like when people talk about utopias, like, I mean, we should probably strive for that, but people look at you like, oh, utopia, like that's a terrible word. It's like, we'll never get there.
How dare you believe in something?
We'll never get there, but you know what they say, like, you reach for the stars, you'll hit the moon.
It's like the sort of, I listened to, or read, did I read it, where they were saying that if we did achieve a utopia, there would be a section of society that would strive to bring it down.
Rebel against it.
They would hate it and they would want to destroy it, so it wouldn't really be a utopia.
I think that's life's balance though, like, it has to balance it out. How do we balance? Like, is it sort of people who are in the middle? Is that...
Or rewards in life come through challenges, and if you were in a utopia, where would the challenge be? You know what I mean?
I think the main challenge that this is where I think that we're going wrong, is that we've got many challenges as a society, but we're struggling, like you just said, to meet the challenges of 100 years ago, and we've not quite updated to meet. I mean, if we keep going the way that we're going, if you look at the way that they're segregating and separating the sexes, we won't be able to continue as a fucking race. Like, women don't want anything to do with men don't want anything to do with women on a sort of broad sort of scale. Obviously in the microcosm, still all get girlfriends and stuff like that.
Pitched against each other.
We're really getting pitched against each other. It's a dangerous game that we're playing. And it could end with a Japan style where the guys just fucking have sex robots and how are we going to create?
I mean, I watched this short documentary on these guys that are just living in these internet cafes that have rooms that they can pay for monthly, and they just sit on the internet all day. Like, some guy was like, I used to have a job, but I just stay here now. It's like supremely cheap, and I've got an internet connection. I've just engaged online with people.
I'm happy. Have you seen the latest episode of South Park?
No.
It's something like that, right? It's like they've got a box that goes over their head that projects their phone screen, and it's like their safe space where they're basically on their phone and people are ripping the boxes off and they're like, what are you doing? It's really, I love the social commentary that they do in South Park.
They just continue to nail it. Still, amazing. I mean, how many years is that? Like 20? I think it was 1997 it came out, or 1995?
It's fake. It's something like that. Something crazy
This
like
was
that.
I seen, I think, on the Daily Show the other day that it was Al Gore, and obviously I tweeted it, or sort of Facebook shared it when going to chat about Man Bear Pig. And like, there was a subtlety to how he explained it that I was like, do you know what? I never seen that. And it was like when he was going, when Al Gore first appeared in South Park, they were talking about Man Bear Pig, and they were going, no, Man Bear Pig's no real, Mr. Vice President. Like, shut up. Slagged him off and roasted him. And then a couple of years later, come back. Character came in and they were facing the real Man Bear Pig, and he was going, so it's global warming, like they were saying in the first episodes, global warming's not real, because that's what he was campaigning on. And then I was like, I completely missed that. I was just like, Jesus Christ, that's Man Bear Pig.
It's just a funny combination of words.
So it's like there was a pure metaphor underneath it that I just completely missed. You know what I mean? Like, so the way he explained it was actually quite eloquent.
I absolutely love it. I think that they're desperate to get cancelled though.
Really?
That's why it's getting more offensive. Is because people are liking it more. So because it's getting realer. Realer.
I mean, that takes a lot to put. 17 seasons is it now?
Oh, it's way past that. Like season 22.
Right. Okay. So somewhere around 20 years it's been going for. That's a long time to dedicate yourself to one thing.
I think the movie came out in '99.
Yeah.
So that would be 20 years next year.
Wow.
Season 1 was, I think you're right, 1995.
They've definitely done like 20-year anniversaries and stuff like that, so they have.
It's incredible.
I watched Basketball the other night. First time in a long time. I used to love that movie.
The Beals.
Absolutely. Brilliant.
And Orgasmo.
Orgasmo's a great movie.
That is it.
You ever seen it?
I've never seen that one.
Oh,
Shoulder Boys.
It's just like Orgasmo Man.
Orgas Dog or something. The dog's called.
The bad guy's called the neutered man. He's like,
that's right.
He's like neutered, so you can't get orgasm.
Right.
Orgasm, should I say?
It's brilliant. It's like Boogie Nights, a parody in Boogie Nights. But Basketball's just hilarious. Like the bit where they're doing the surgery and they're like, fuck's sake, this kid smells like Robert Downey Jr. Because he's been out all night tanking the tequilas. They'll take the tequila shots in the bar. They're absolutely amazing.
And he's getting like a liver transplant as well. And he's like him so much.
I'm definitely aware of the character in the movie, but I don't think I definitely think I've got it. But I might pick it up.
I've not seen the Book of Mormon. Is that did they produce it?
No, they wrote it. They did everything.
Okay. Did they
so cool.
It's coming to the UK in
I don't think they did because it's been on multiple places, so they must have like different casts and there's a tour. But the bit that I loved about the Book of Mormon was I think it was a stand-up comedian, I can't remember who it is. He's like, their reaction to the Book of Mormon's perfect because every other religion protests outside. The Mormons actually took out the centerfold in the programme, just saying, if you like this musical, you might like the Mormons, and here's where to find us. And took an advert.
Just owned it.
Aye, fucking right.
That's the way to do it.
Aye, definitely. I think that's a religion that doesn't take itself too seriously on the surface.
Yeah,
but might be like Christianity, wow.
I'm
like Dogma, like pure bloody Christ.
I love Dogma. That's a fucking awesome.
So it might be like that, but it's like we're doing this to attract the kids.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then once they get you in, they're like,
I remember Matt Damon's analogy at the beginning of the movie to what is it? Alice in Wonderland, is that it?
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking about like going down the rabbit hole, for religions and all the people that she meets. There's different religions in the world.
Deities and stuff like that.
Fucking hell! Like being a young lad at the time, I was like, there's layers to movies. I don't.
You're mind blown. The Kevin Smith. He's become a bit of a joke nowadays, hasn't he? Unfortunately.
I think he's had quite a bit of ill health and stuff like that, and heart attacks and stuff. So
he's lost a fuck ton of weight. Just love the story. 2 stories. Have you ever seen the Kevin Smith stand? It's not really stand up. It's just lectures. It's like an evening with Kevin Smith. It came out like 2001, something like that. And he told 2 stories. One was that he spent 2 weeks with Prince making a documentary about Prince.
I remember that.
And Prince had apparently this vault where he used to just make an album every couple of months and would just chuck it in the vault, would never release it. So different like genres of music, but he did a couple under pseudonyms and stuff like that, but he got Kevin Smith to make this full blown Hollywood documentary about Prince and then never seen the light of day.
Wow.
Did he not get somebody to make a new documentary every couple of years and just shelved every one?
Just never liked it.
Really?
And then the other one was that.
But it is somewhere though.
That
exists.
Yeah, and his family own it. He just had apparently like a vault in his house. I bet it's not a vault, but it's just like a hard drive.
Nah, but like somebody like duck, he's gonna have
swimming in unreleased albums.
Just fucking reels of music, but I bet that they'll get desperate at some point and start releasing that
I
shit.
think there's already been disputes with the Prince. What would you call it? Like estate. I think there's been disputes already with folk trying to get stuff released and try to use stuff, and other members of the family going no, and he didn't want it out, so we're going to keep a hold of it.
And like Michael Jackson, who's just releasing anything that he ever released.
It'll all rock up at a Sotheby's in 20 years' time and go for like 600 million quid or something. You know what I mean? Like,
the other one was that he get paid whatever, he didn't say the amount of money, but he get paid whatever his check is, like whatever his basic is, probably like in the millions, but to do a script for Superman, well, Nicolas Cage was on retainer to do Superman, and they gave the script to Nicolas Cage, and he'd get like 2 pages in, was like, no, fucking...
I've seen some images from that, him dressed as Superman.
It makes you like bulk a wee bit, doesn't it?
I just can't imagine it. I can't imagine Superman or Nick Cage as Superman.
He's so bad. Becoming like, I don't know, someone, when you watch someone going off the rails in their career, it seems like Nicolas Cage is called that, but he's not dying.
Superman Lives.
Yeah.
Are those pictures legit?
Yeah, that's him in the suit.
That's him in the suit.
And he has long hair, is that correct?
Yeah, that was
emo Spider-Man.
It was run about that sort of Joel Schumacher Batman.
And there's no way that's his actual abs, that's like pure plastic abs, isn't it?
Well, he was pretty buff in Con Air. Have you seen Con Air?
Aye, but he's no, like, come on.
Show him in Con Air, like his body.
Put the bunny back in the box. Look at that, man, that's horrendous. But it was run about that sort of Joel Schumacher, like Batman nipples time. And that's like an updated one, because he was on, I'm pretty sure they had him on retainer for like 10 years because... They've been so bad.
In the box.
So what was it before down here?
Nicolas Cage, Con Air ripped or something.
I love Nick Cage.
Not that I googled this.
As much as he makes terrible movies,
not the bees! The fake CGI bees. He's jacked in that. That must be at that time as well, because he has the long hair.
Aye, but I mean, he's no got like a 19-pack.
Because he has a fucking t-shirt on. You have to use your imagination in this. I'm sorry.
I'd rather know. So.
There's the action figure.
That is not Nicolas Cage. And this is when he's about 80.
He's fairly older though.
He's becoming more and more like Elvis Elvis in his old age.
I want to watch Mandy.
That is supposed to be amazing.
Aye.
Oh really?
Yeah. So we'll just end it there, dude. Like that's us, like, but no.
Thank you for having me on, man. Both of you. Good conversation. How long did it was?
About an hour and a half.
That's great.
Something like that. It was a really good conversation. We didn't even get to talk about music or stories about like.
Yeah, we can do that again.
Half famous people that we know, and
we
should definitely.
Oh yeah, I want to end on that story actually about if that's okay.
Go for
it. Like at a party. So you were telling the story about someone you know who did something with a frying pan.
Come on, man.
Yeah. A cumlet. A TM. And so my friend, who is sort of the owner of a famous clothing brand in Scotland, and it rhymes with Shamand and a blip.
Okay.
I was friends with him, and we were at a party, and he just had his tunnels.
I've just tried to figure talking about right.
Like stretched again. And he was at like 32, so he was going up to 35. And if you have tunnels that are those size, when you get above a certain size, you can't stretch them anymore. So you have to get like a scalpel to skin the inside of it, so you can get more your stretcher in.
That just gave me the chills.
I had that pure wee horrible ball tangle you see when you get somebody punched.
So my friend, who shall nameless, he comes in. We're all hammered at this party, taking all sorts of whatever, and he comes in with this little bag of skin into the party, and we were sitting in the kitchen, and there's a frying pan right on the cooker, and we were like, we should fry this up and we should eat it. So we were frying up his skin, and then I think there was 3 of us that all had a little taste of it.
Did it go like crackling?
It was it tasted like pork. Like it sort of was really sort of like fatty and chewy, but like quite tasty actually. I mean, it's salty at the same time.
So you've been technically
a cannibal?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's illegal in Scotland, is it?
I don't know. So maybe killing somebody, maybe. I don't think like eating a bit if somebody's like, here, do you want a wee bit of my finger? Chop it off. And
it wasn't me, it was just the dough.
I've always said that if I was somewhere, I don't know, abroad obviously, and I went to somewhere where they were like, we self-human, and it's I don't know, ethically sourced, grass-fed human beings, organic, like
I just like things that are vegan free, so
anti-vegan. I would definitely try it.
Okay.
I would 100% try it. I would try monkey or something like that. But if they had something where they were like, we do human, I don't know how they would do it.
So let's say they fry people who've been done for like really bad, terrible.
Or like
Their meat would be disgusting.
Yeah,
It's
tainted.
bad meat.
people who like, you know, donate their bodies to science, whereas like somebody who just like really liked barbecuing, like was I'm going to donate my body to barbecue when I'm dead.
Something like that.
Maybe
If I could
if
get
it was about survival.
Yeah.
If it was a
If
choice
we're in
between me,
alive.
if it's a choice between me and you, I'm making burgers. You know what I mean? Like, but
We're in that
like,
movie Alive.
you know,
Aye, the one with the Canadian
Yeah.
fucking rugby team.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think
Monkeys
that's a
and
real
animals
movie.
and
I don't
that,
think there is a Canadian rugby
yeah.
team. Sorry.
Well, no any murders, no.
There's half.
They're
They've all got one leg.
They're about wobbly on their feet.
Anyway,
I would say like other animals, like monkeys and that, aye, but people
would
it
go
would,
for
it
that.
would need to be about survival.
Do you remember Faces of Death?
Yeah.
Did you ever watch it?
Yeah, I tried not to. Because
Do you remember the
Same
bit where
as
they make the, I think it's Brazil, they put the monkey in the hot plate and it does the wee dance and then they crack its head open and
Eat
put
it
its
while it's
brain,
alive.
with the, like scoop its brain out and it's in like a wee vice. I'd get a go, fuck it.
Cool.
So on end,
I'm glad we've managed to find something worse than cannibalism to finish on.
An endorsement for Faces of
is that a
Death.
euphemism?
Well, things like Faces of Death is like redundant now because like the internet's just I mean people sit and watch people get killed all the time.
I mean, World Star is Faces and Live Leak is the sort of continuation of
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In the days we're going by, you get shocked by it nowadays. People are like scrambling for their phones to film it.
When I was younger, I could watch those decapitation movies, like maybe 22, 23. As I've gotten older, it's just, I don't know, I can't.
I'm the same.
I don't even want to think
Yeah.
about it anymore. The last one I saw was some sort of Mexican cartel video where a girl had grassed on one of the guys and they chopped her fingers off one by one, like with this knife. And it just looks like sausages, like there's no blood really, and it's just her. And she must be in shock. And I was like, I can't watch these anymore.
Aye,
Yeah.
I'm the same
Can't do
man. I would be like all of them when I was like in my 20s. Show me that, but see now it's like, fucking what are you showing me that for?
Yeah.
It's going to haunt me for months. I'm going to be thinking about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, dude, cheers for coming on again, man. It's
Thank
been
you,
a
guys.
pleasure. And I catch you next time.
Great
man.
conversation. Thanks.
Great
guys.
having you, mate. Thank you.